The events of episode 9 take place in the autumn of the first timeline and January 1st of the second timeline. In the first timeline, Luke is watching old home movies of his family at the cabin, and this was when his mother was still alive. A while later, he's relaxing on a lilo in the pool, and Brent knocks him off and holds its head underwater. It's meant to be playful, but it looks a little much, kind of like bullying, and Steven tells Brent to knock it off, and the ordeal upsets Luke. Later, Luke tells Megan that he and his father have nothing in common, that ever since his mother died, things are kind of distant between them. And oh, by the way, school has started again at this point because it's September. At his office, Steve shows Luke one of his development plans, and he also pressures Luke into going to business school. Luke says that he wants to work outdoors, he wants to work for the Coast Guard. I thought that Luke wanted to go to medical school, so I must be getting all of my rich teen boy characters with business dads mixed up. Anyway, Steve is not having this Coast Guard business. Luke does have his Coast Guard application sent to the sheriff's department. He plans to apply, and then when he gets in, he's going to tell his dad that he's not going to business school. Later, when he talks to Megan about their plans to go to different schools, he doesn't correct her assumption that he's going to business school. Brent is home from college at home, and he's telling his friends, including Jeff, how freaky college girls are and they like being filmed in bed. But some girls perform better in stealth mode. Jeff asks if that means that he hides the camera then, and the guys think that that's cool. Just then Luke walks in and the boys make fun of him and tell him that he doesn't have what it takes to make a tape with Megan. That evening, Luke is waiting at Megan's as the girls come home from a bar outing. They went to the bar without him and seem to have a lot of fun, and he's annoyed and feels left out. There's growing animosity between Luke and Isabella. She's kind of upped her whole BFF thing with Megan to kind of compete with Luke. So for example, she plays up the fact that a hot guy at the bar was into Megan. It looks like she's baiting him. I don't think I'm missing anything here. I'm guessing she's just feeling like she doesn't want to lose her best friend. Luke goes down to the sheriff's station and Jeff is there for a traffic ticket, and he says that Luke should have come to him about the whole Megan thing. He says that Brent is better because he's open about it, but Luke actually thinks that he's a good guy, but he's low-key not. In the second timeline, the bullet that Isabella shot last episode grazes Luke's ear. Anyway, Luke continues this thing of pitting the girls against each other by saying that, see, Isabella has wanted me out of the way for months. Everyone is panicking, and Iz says that maybe they should just leave Luke there to think about what he's done. It also looks like the blood behind Luke's ear on the pillowcase is that bloody thing that looked like bloody sheets that Megan tried to throw out, Isabella took, and then that Debbie found under Isabella's bed in the trailer. Those were the bloody sheets we were wondering about. Megan tells Luke that she's pregnant. He panics and he tells her they're too young, it's not realistic for them to raise children, and he'll get his dad to help take care of it. He doesn't seem to have any concern for how she is or how she's feeling, and this is upsetting to her, and she tells him that he's not who she thought he was. There's nothing left to say, she says, and she never wants to see him again. She leaves. Luke starts untying himself and he's pretty scary. You know how a wounded animal is even more dangerous and unpredictable? Yes, he has that energy. In December, Luke hears the girls talk about Madrid. They've made plans to go next summer if Megan gets her passport in order. The competition between Luke and Isabella for Megan's affection continues, and it's clear now that Iz knows what she's doing. Luke tells his dad that he got into Branson, the business school, but he also got into the Coast Guarding Academy. Steve says that he won't bankroll him. Luke says to his dad that they would have all been better off if he was driving that night and not the mother. He says that Steve has resented him ever since his mother died. When he talks to Megan later, it turns out he did mention the Coast Guard at some point because she does ask about it. Later at their Christmas party, Steve shoves Luke and tells him that Branson is happening. In retaliation, Luke grabs a tape and he tells a caterer to play it at the party. It's a family tape, he says, but it isn't. It turns out to be a sex tape. So not only did Luke record it without Megan's consent, he was also the one responsible for it being played out to the public at the party. Although it looks like he just grabbed it from a bunch and he wasn't specifically meaning for it to be the one with him on it. Or maybe he did and he wanted to sabotage himself and humiliate Steve. I don't know yet. I couldn't tell. By the way, Luke confides in his father about how things are different with Megan since the tape incident. And his dad says, well, you two are still young. Maybe you should cut bait and see what else is out there. There are plenty of fish in the sea. It's pretty dismissive and exactly something that Steve would say. Back to Luke untying himself in the cabin. We see him put his clothes on, grab a torch, he leaves the cabin, and he's still really dizzy. Is it from the benzos that the girls gave him? Anyway, he gets to the dock at the lake and he sends a page. While this is going on, Megan is at home, twisting and turning. Isabella is also looking worried. I cannot believe that these girls just left him there. I usually really enjoy these kinds of revenge storylines, but I feel like they were a little too heavy-handed on the Luke punishment. Anyway, at the end of the episode, somebody shows up on the dock. It's the recipient of the page, and Luke says, "I didn't think you'd come." We don't get to see who this person is, but it must be a heavy-set person because the dock moves under their weight a little bit as they're walking on it. So who did he think wouldn't come? I'm guessing either Brent or Steve, but I'm guessing Steve. Anyway, yeah, that's episode 9 of Cruel Summer. If you have any thoughts, feel free to share, and thank you for watching.